Morning, Juventini, and welcome back to the All Juvecast, where it's all Juve all the time. And I got Anthony joining me today. And yes, we are +3, and finally a positive outcome, as Alex joining us right out of the gate here says, Bob, good morning, Bob, +3, a little bit messy. Okay, well, we'll get to that. Cliff's with us. Right out of the gate here, something to build off. Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. And yeah, we're happy to cover this. It was a positive one for Juve. It needed to be. We've got a string of matches where they all really need to be. And another positive yesterday, the boys launched Stoppage Time on our Twitch channel, okay, where they're doing Serie A recap, okay, and it was Cliff and Lou, and it was a fantastic show and a job well done. So props to them. And for all our subscribers, get over to Twitch, follow all Juvecast on Twitch, okay, and you'll get your Serie A recap. So if you want a little Serie A coverage, we're not going to leave you hanging. You just watch the young bucks do it on Twitch, and they did a good job. The other thing with Twitch we're going to have a lot of fun with is PlayStation 5, Xbox, FIFA 22. If you want to challenge some of the team members of All Juvecast, go for it. And we'll take you on and we'll stream the games and we'll have a lot of fun. And I'd recommend starting off with Cliff because I've played him. And yeah, it's a good step. It's a good step up before you come after the guns like Omer and myself. Maybe kick it off with Cliff, throw a couple challenges his way. And I know
it should be noted.
He's probably going to make a comment here real quick. Go ahead, Anthony.
It should be noted that there is a member of the All Juvecast that was formerly nationally ranked in FIFA.
Yes. So we found that out about our newest member since he claims, and this is Mr. Joe Cappuccino there, saying that now he's switched over to Pez. And to me, all I smell is fear. He doesn't want the smoke. He doesn't want this smoke in FIFA. But we'll see. Possibly. We'll see how it goes. Guys, for everybody that's tuning in on the audio channel, real quick, just get the business out of the way. Head over to YouTube, subscribe to the channel. A ton of good content. We keep you up to date on the news almost daily when we're not doing these live episodes and match day lives. Okay. And yeah, honestly, alljuvecast.com, great articles, previews for matches, reviews and ratings. So a lot of stuff going on, and we try to have all avenues covered for you guys. Okay. Now, without further ado, I guess we get to the match at hand.
Victory Wednesday, Al. It's Victory Wednesday. Now, we did play a Serie C side, but hey, we'll take the 3 points. On we go.
Yeah, you betcha. You betcha. So kick it off with the lineup. Kind of there was two projected ones. We got the second one, the latest one, which would have been Szczesny, Quadrado, Chiellini, De Ligt, Pellegrini, Kulusevski, Bentancur, Locatelli, Bernardeschi with Dybala and Keane. And let's get your take on that lineup, Anthony.
Well, especially in our group chat, that's the lineup more or less what the whole team has been asking for, or that sort of that group of players. We finally didn't get 4 central midfielders in midfield, which was a bonus right off the start. I think injuries forced his hand. I'd like to hope that injuries forces Max's hand in previous matches. I think we underestimated how much this team needs Bernardeschi, and he showed it yesterday. We were all hoping Bernardeschi would have that game and Kulusevski would have a good game. And I think they came out strong, and they showed the fans what they can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And even in the alternative lineup that we saw being listed, you had a left side of Sandro, Rabiot, and Bernardeschi, and everybody was like, that left side is atrocious. And I was like, do not account Bernardeschi as part of that, because he's been the one that honestly let Max get away with the 4-4-2 for quite some time. So yeah, ultimately this lineup, I liked it. I had no issues with it. It was a positive lineup, and it needed to be a positive lineup against a team that covered in the tactical breakdown. We have to be honest. And if it comes off disrespectful, it is what it is. But man, they just drop back, they collapse. There's not much to their game, especially with the fact that they were going into this one missing Ribery. If Ribery would have been there, they create a little bit more. He's the key man. You still have to just lock him up, but he's very good at finding pockets, and they can create a little more. With him out, they become a team that just wants to
Stinks.
cross it into the area and hope for the best. And there's not much there. Defensively, we saw it in this one. They just collapsed. They drop right back. And I said it in that breakdown, get your shooting boots on, look at the top of the area, because the spaces just open up, because Salernitana is atrocious when it comes to the defensive side.
They did. So before we get in, they did drop back, but they're not an organized team defensively. Like, you know, some of their teams will shell up, but they're just not organized.
Yeah.
They stink.
Yeah. So let's get to the slides from this one, and we'll just quickly go through some of the highlights in this. Now, let me just pull it up. I usually do this beforehand, but I'm obviously asleep at the wheel.
You want me to juggle while you? Oh, you got it ready. Okay.
Yeah. So
some entertainment.
There we go. Kick it off, and it's Dybala again. Pocket of space. This is quite funny. Again, when we talk about the breakdowns and when we kind of try and preview things with team, you would think this is like a scramble off a corner kick or something. This is natural buildup, and Salernitana early in the game have 10. There's 10, all 10 guys are there in and around the area. It's funny. Dybala gets a shot off here, easily handled by the keeper. You have a couple players looming there for rebounds. We continue on. This was a nice one, cut off by Locatelli. Plays it into Keane. His touch, not the greatest, but it actually works out because it falls into the path of Kulishevsky, who steps into this thing. And I thought 100% goal. He just misses this thing. Frustrating one, but good opportunity.
Defender was in his shooting lane. If he hit the defender, if that defender wasn't there, he had a shooting lane. But since he was there, he had to kind of bend it around. And I think
if he takes a bit off of it, he would have maybe generated a bit more curl. It's a tough one to say, but he didn't miss by much. Again, the pressure's right, cutting off balls, looking for the quick passes. And I like the fact that he was close to Keane, like they're closer together. So, yeah, that's more what was satisfying about the situation, is that we weren't way too spaced out and could link up. And the link up was much, much better against Salernitana. Again, one of the things when you play that positive lineup, right? Carry on. And another one, Cuadrado shifting the ball into Dybala here. Cuadrado will continue his run. I thought Dybala, I thought he was going to carry a little bit more, maybe try to suck these guys in and slide it to an open man, but he ends up taking the shot quite early, like literally just one more step in, takes a shot easily handled by the keeper, but again, all over him. Then out of nowhere, just a bad turnover up the pitch, and again, Salernitana gets an opportunity. This is a header from Simi. Doesn't end up missing by much. Tech's kind of there for coverage, but again, one of their few chances generated coming off one of our turnovers.
You play a top 4 team, that Tech's forced to save that.
Yeah, you'd have to think so. This very, very nice. Very, very nice play. Again, Dybala finding the pockets. You've got us spreading them out at the back, so there's some space to work with. Gets the ball in, plays it to Kulu. Ball watching from the defender. You know exactly where Dybala's going. And Kulu hits him, and an absolute smash of a strike here, bottom corner. Great finish from Paulo Dybala, and that's one.
The amount of power he got on that was unbelievable. Like it was a one step kind of, it was off his left side a little bit, but he got a lot of juice on the back of that thing.
Oh yeah.
He got no chance.
I will say this, he was smashing that ball in this game. Like Dybala's hits were clean. Other than the last one that came from the spot. We'll talk about that one, though. We'll get to that. But
I'll get to that one.
He was smashing the ball in this one. He had a couple other opportunities. Easily could have ended up with the hat trick. But we'll carry on. Nice 1-0. Here you have an absolute fantastic free kick from Quad. Keeper tries to get to off the post, kind of scrambles in there. Giorgione there coming in there and
Does the keeper touch
smashing it
that?
home. Sorry?
Did the keeper touch that?
I think he did. I think he just got a bit of it. Might have hit post first, him back off the post. It was tough to see. I never really got a clear replay of it. Giorgione here smashing it in, 2-0 up. Hang tight. And yeah, it's funny again. We've seen this a couple times, and it's where the line's getting drawn that I have the issue with. Because if you go where you go outside of that is technically not somewhere you can play with anyways. So it has to come in closer. But again, nonetheless, just barely offside. And we take that one away.
Now, there was one issue with that
your
one.
head.
Like, I know, I understand. I don't watch EPL, but my understanding is that EPL, they draw thicker lines there now. I think that's the fact that they don't use such fine, like this would have been a goal in England, is my understanding. And like we're getting crazy now, but this is what people wanted. They wanted to get rid of those. They wanted to make everything black and white, and now this is black and white. And some people took issue with, well, the goalie played it, and then Keane came in, he didn't touch it. But the fact that Keane went in and was a factor in the play, that's why it's deemed offside as well.
Yeah.
But
it's a tough one. But I can't agree with where that line is getting placed. Like, that's the thing that just frustrates me before. And I've seen this, not only we have covered it in other Juve matches, but other Serie A matches, like where that line's getting dropped really in relevance to the players, not quite there. If you're looking at legal plays to legal parts to play the ball. So it's really strange, but
I know Luke is saying here that Keane had no effect on he did. Defender was even getting there before Keane. He had no effect on the game. He did have an effect on the game because he forced the defender to make a play. If he stood still and did nothing, and then Cleany put that away, he should have been onside.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we go back a couple slides, like he's right there in the mix on the goal line. Like, I mean, you can't say he's not a factor. I mean, he is a factor. He's right in the mix.
Yeah.
So but if he stops right there, different story. Because then he regains his onside eligibility. Carry on. And here again, just a simple cross in. Cross in.
They messed this up.
Absolute mess made of it. Falls to back post, who's freaking clear. He smashes this thing. Smashes it. It goes off the post, right across the face of goal and out for a corner. And unbelievable. Like, something that should be cleaned up and handled quite well. Not something you want to see at the back, especially when you're not being overloaded. You have a normal amount of numbers there. We get two guys tangled up. Kind of made a mess of that one.
I'm trying to remember if this is what started the pressure. They had about an 8-minute span of pressure. I can't remember if this was during it, but this was a simple in the box, Cleany miskicks it. Quadrado comes in to defend the same player as De Ligt, and it pops over their head, and that guy gets a clean shot. But De Ligt did well. Him going to the goal line forced that player to go far side.
Yeah.
So that's essentially, if we can give De Ligt a save, that's his save.
Yeah, it's still just messy.
It was a mess.
And you're right, they had a little bit of a spell there, and you're thinking, my God, are we going to concede to these guys?
I thought we were.
Ribery being out there. So yeah, live look at some of us as well at that moment. Like, what is going on?
Yep.
Carry on here, and then you have a nice little ball out wing. 3 minutes before this, 67th minute, Morata enters the pitch, and 3 minutes into his time here, find Bernardeschi out wide, and he plays this thing in. And this is the hilarious part about Morata, because he can be on an incredibly poor run of form and find a way to finish this with no space, no room, and a quick think and tap, because he's got nothing else to really do with this thing. And he directs this thing right through the wickets.
This goal is unbelievable. Like I don't think people really realize the touch he puts on this thing is unbelievable. It was so light and just kind of directed it. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, and you got to see this from it's hard to see in here. I tried to get a siding, but like it's on the outside of the boot as it comes in, so he like sweeps his leg inside of it to do that. It's a hell of a finish.
Yeah.
It's one hell of a finish. So massive props to him. Hopefully that, picks him up and boosts that. And you have to say that every time this guy scores, but he's a streaky guy. So you're always hoping that that's the one that sparks the rest of them. We will get to Moise Keane because obviously Keane was struggling in this one.
Oh yeah, big time.
So we will get to Moise Keane, but this was a hell of a finish. And then as we wrap up the remaining minutes of the match, you have a beautiful passing play here. And Morata will come inside. Dybala will carry through his run, finding space. And Morata plays it beautifully. You see Dybala perfectly onside. Time his run. Great save by the keeper.
Rushed it.
Fantastic save.
He rushed
Dybala.
it. He had all day.
Finish up. Foul on Morata in the area. Dybala steps up and ends up on his ass, missing this thing high.
Okay, this is the groundskeeper fault. Like, what are you like that? Well, maybe it could be the goalie. Maybe he was doing the old. Who was the goalie back in the day who would put his heel in the penalty spot and did spins? You ever seen that?
Man, I don't know. It's funny because I tried to get the angle of. They showed one of Paulo running up to it, and the second he goes to plant, his foot just goes wonky. This ball actually hits his planted foot before taking off and going that's how ugly it was. But
anyone who's experienced this knows that when you plant that foot and it starts to slip, you get this feeling in your stomach like, oh, this thing could go anywhere. You just try and get enough meat on it with your shooting foot just to hope that it goes towards the net. And sweet Jesus, that thing went into the fifth row. Poor kid. I blame the groundskeeper.
Look at the boot snob here, Luca, saying it's on Paulo for not wearing his soft ground boots. Okay. Take it easy. Honestly, he was hitting the ball extremely well in this match. That one was unfortunate, but you could see the second he planted, slipped. We get the 2-0 victory. Okay. Victory, much needed. It could have been many, many more goals. You look at the numbers after this one's over, and Salernitana finishes with 4 total opportunities, 0 count as on target because the post one does not count as on target. They had had a little bit of a spell there that Anthony touched on, but overall, we did the job, did what we needed to do. They got 4 out of their 4 total attempts. 3 of those came from our errors. The nice thing about this one is our errors didn't lead to goals from them. One almost did, which is still kind of the thing surrounding Juventus, is that our errors right now are very, very dangerous for opponents, and they almost, 9 out of 10 times look like they could finish on us from the errors. So still got to tighten things up, but I did like the positive lineup. I like the approach to the game. It was the first time in a long time it seemed to make sense based on what the opponent was going to do, how we constructed attacking sequences. And it was really, really good. Taking what they were giving us when they collapsed and got narrow, we got wide and took that space. When they were spread out, we went centrally through Dybala, through Kulusevski. It was very, very well played. Now it's all about the follow-up. But let's get to kind of your summary and your thoughts on this one before we get into player performances and man of the match.
Well, unfortunately, I missed the pregame, so that was I apologize for that. I was supposed to be on it, but I guess the listeners, they don't really care. But the 3 things I wanted to see, like my keys to the game before the game, were my main one was intensity from the first minute, and they seem to have brought that. They were chasing balls. They were they lose possession somehow to this team, but they were tracking back, they were tracking their mans, other than that one little shot off the post. They kept the tempo up for most of the game, And that was something that was good to see. And I think that obviously a big part of the lineup did that. You had a lot of the younger guys, hungrier guys out there. The second one was how would they break they had to break down the low block. I didn't think this Salerno squad was going to be that bad. Like, they stunk. I think they had 7 guys out injured. So that just pushed them to almost a City of Cheeside. I thought we did that well. We easy passing through, Dybala's goal, Dybala's miss on that half breakaway. Those were all, smooth passing through a team that's trying to set their defensive 5 at the back. We did really well with that. And the other one was score early, something that we did a lot at the beginning of the season, and then we fell off of that for 4 or 5 games. 21st minute I think was the goal, so that's not too early, but we scored early enough to, we weren't behind the 8 ball. We got that first goal. We're out in front running, so it's hard to find things to complain about in this game. It's hard to call. It's also hard to say that this was, let's build off of this.
Yeah.
Because, the opponent is weak. But there are some things to build off of. But there was one negative in this game that I think we're going to have to talk about.
Yeah, I think you do have to say it's something to build off in terms of the approach to it, even from Max and the lineup that he played.
Fair enough.
It's not rocket science that it works better when you have guys that can actually play the outside mid roles.
Yep.
And they help the offense. Big surprise that, Berna and Kulu would help the offense more than Rabiot playing in that outside role. Keep it simple. Keep it simple moving forward. Play the guys. This particular game, for me, made that separation of where it's tactics and setup versus players. And the reason would be Moise Kean. That was a player falling apart and not the setup or tactics or anything.
Mm-hmm.
That was an individual not being up to the task. And again, the separation is there. When you have the group playing well, it looks cohesive, it looks pretty fluid, and you have a guy constantly, stopping it or impeding it. That's an individual difference. When you have 6 guys out of a lineup that can't seem to get right, and they're all kind of all over the place positionally, structurally, that's more on the setup than it is the players. So I think this one just stuck out as a prime example of that. Keane took a lot of heat on this one.
He dropped a turd yesterday. That was not a good game for him.
It was bad. It was very, very bad. Now, we will have some questions to get to. We do want to kind of tackle all player performances right now real quick. And I'd probably say to Ant, let's get to the Striped Hearts man of the match while also talking about some of the other players and potentially some ratings, right? Can pull up the team's ratings for what we decided as a group and added to Travis's fantastic debut article, which was the review in this match. I love the hint of sarcasm in some of those ratings as well. We got to take,
did their job.
You got it. So the ratings from the All Juvecast team, we've got Tech 6, remains the same. Quiet night for the big man. Delict 6.5, did his job. Quadrado 6.5, Chiellini 6.5. All 3 of those guys did their job. Quadrado was kind of funny in certain instances because he gives you a hell of a free kick there. And then I think the next sequence was him trying to do a move and missing the ball completely. And it actually went through his legs. It was
the weird thing with Quadrado is that he was statistically the highest rated player on 2 sites that I checked. And I'm like, I guess. Like, I thought he was fine. I didn't.
Yeah, he had a good game. I don't know if I'd go highest.
Right.
But yeah, good game. Good game overall. Pellegrini 6 remains steady. They all start at 6, by the way. So he did well going forward. Did enough, I think. Did
So I
enough.
think Eric from our team, and he's on the treadmill right now, but he said, please don't say anything dumb that would make him fall off the treadmill. But Eric had a good point. He was saying about Pellegrini, and I hope I get this right, or else Eric is going to dump on me. He said Pellegrini was doing well getting forward, but not moving the ball forward. Like he was getting into the right areas, but he wasn't like progressing play like you want your wing backs to do. So I thought he played as good as he did in his first appearance. I'd like to see more of the kid though.
I think the biggest thing for me with Pellegrini is I like the attitude. I like
Yeah.
the attitude. I like the aggression, the little bit of aggression that he gives to that spot in terms of Sandro, in which sometimes I'm curious if he's actually even awake. I like that. I like that. Sandro is sometimes asleep at the wheel. Rabiot's guilty of it too, and a lot of fans. That was the main complaint, is having those two on the left side. Pellegrini did good. There was instances where he missed that next pass.
That's right.
He missed it, and when you hesitate for that split second, it's gone completely. And he did a lot of good things where he was getting up that flank, and then there was the perfect area, the area we should have always been looking at, that Salernitana leaves empty, which is that top of the area as they all drop back. He had multiple instances where that next ball was there, and he just waited a little too long. He ended up being dispossessed on 2 out of the 4 that I saw. So, yeah, 6.5 though overall. I mean, or sorry, 6 staying steady. Absolutely fair. Absolutely fair to stay steady. Bentancur, 6.5. He had a good game.
He had a really good
Bentancur
game.
did very, very well with Locatelli. Locatelli coming in at a 7.5. He had a great game. He was just solid. Everywhere he needed to be, he was, and he did everything he needed to, and really didn't put a step wrong. So 7.5. Yep. Kulishevsky, 6.5. High work rate, and provided the assist on the first goal to Dybala. And I just, again, I think he can be used if we're going to continue in this kind of setup, playing as an outside.
The more I think about it, that might be a half point low.
Half point low? Yeah, he's kind of in that range.
I thought he had a good game yesterday. I thought
He
that
could
was a
definitely
Kulishevsky.
be in the discussion for the top guys, because there was about 3, I think, that were up there.
Yep.
We carry on with Bernardeschi. Bernardeschi gets a 7. And again, we spoke to the importance of him and what he gives to Max. And it's the versatility. The versatility is big there on there. And his reading of the game. His reading of the game is miles ahead of Rabiot in that position. It's a no-brainer. So, yeah, I agree with the 7 there. Dybala, 7.5.
One thing about Bernardeschi is he didn't force anything yesterday. Normally he tries to beat a guy, and then he'll try and beat 2 more, like he'll try and force that last pass, but he didn't force anything yesterday. So that's why I think he had a fantastic game, because he let the game play out. He played nice and smooth. I thought he had a really good performance.
Yeah. Dybala 7.5. For me, heavily involved, massive in the attacking phase for the team. Keane, a 5. Could potentially be a little bit friendly with a 5. To be honest, it was not a good showing for the young man. Does he need more minutes? We'll get to that.
Pellegrini had a ball in the first half where Keane was all by himself in front of the net, and Pellegrini overshot him, or just hit it with too much pace, and Keane dove with his right leg and missed it. But Keane puts that away. Maybe he has a different game. He was all over the place yesterday, though, man.
Yeah. We'll get to the sub. Sandro, a 6. Morata, 6.5. I thought it could have been a little bit higher. He was heavily involved right out of the gate when he came in, scored 3 minutes in with a hell of a finish, and did some good interplay with Dybala as well. Sprung him for a breakaway, which really should have been an assist to him. Rabio 6.0 did his job. That's it for the ratings. We get to the Stripe Charts apparel man of the match, and
A lot of discussion on this one.
unfortunate, very, very unfortunate for the missed PK. And the reason was because Stripe Charts Apparel is ready to give some gear away. We just needed 3 goals and a Juve win, and everybody got amped up. And unfortunately, we missed the PK. Don't worry about it. Stripe Charts is going to do something else to give it away. But make sure you get over to the website and check out their gear. It's the biggest catalog of custom Juventus fan gear you'll find anywhere, and a lot of great designs. They just dropped some awesome zip ups. There's a Moji design that's new, and there's the Legend series. Make sure you check them out. These things are awesome. The Legends tees are also subtle hints to the old kits that those particular players wore. Without further ado, Stripe Charts Apparel, man of the match, Dybala for me. Anthony.
This was a bit of a heated discussion because I was putting the player ratings together, and I send them out to the group, and we all kind of discuss how we feel about them, and move points here and there. And I originally had Locatelli as my man of the match. I thought defensively, offensively, he was all over the place. Okay, Dybala had the most shots. He had the goal. If he scored that penalty, he 100% would have been the man of the match for me. I'm going to stick with Locatelli just for the amount of work that he did yesterday. I think a lot of people disagree with that, but I don't really care. So I'm going with even though pregame predictions, I picked Dybala, I'm still going to go with Locatelli as my man of the match.
Yeah, and that's fair. That's a fair man of the match, but Dybala, I picked Dybala, so I'll take that. Omar's asking if he won the prediction.
I did tally them up yesterday, and you had 1 point, I had 1.5, and Omar finished with 2. So Omar did win the predictions yesterday.
How on earth? I tallied them up, and I won.
No, you're gonna have to do that again.
I think you're wrong, Anth.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you miss the match day lives. You fall off tilt. Okay. Now, we've got a ton of stuff to get to. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We said we would wait and discuss Moise Kean. And Moise Kean was one of it as we opened it up on Twitter, as we always do, for questions to come in from Juventini through Twitter here. And the main one was Kean. What do you do with Kean? Is it a lack of minutes? Like, what's the issue there? A lot of fans were very, very hard on him, basically saying, how quick can we send him back?
That's not fair.
For me, it's too much. That's a little too far. I want to get your thoughts on Moise Kean, Anthony.
Well, he had a stinker yesterday. Let's face it. But a player like that needs minutes, and he's young too. So a lot of people are wanting him to be the replacement for that Portuguese guy, and he's not. He's essentially a backup to our main striker, who's Morata, which is, take it for what it is. That's what it is right now. I would have more patience with the kid. I would actually start him against Genoa. I'd put him back out there. I think Morata needs a little bit more rest. He's logged a lot of minutes. We have, we play the 5th, the 8th, the 11th, the 18th, and the 21st. And this I think would be a good opportunity to throw Kean back out there. I'm not going to judge the kid because he's a kid. He's what, 22, 21? Like, he's still very, very young. So I'll just shake this one off, and I would start him back out there on Sunday.
Yeah. The question was essentially, did Juve waste funds in bringing back Moise Kean? What's his potential, like, upward trajectory at best? To be honest, it's this one was not his best foot forward. We know he's capable of more. He can do much, much better. He's going to be hungry for it. This is a tough one. This is a really, really interesting call to just say you go right back to him, because on the other hand, you have your guy who's supposed to be leading the line, bagging a goal 3 minutes into coming into this one, and you kind of need him to get red hot. It's a very, very interesting one. At the same time, you don't want it to seem like you're now shying away from Moise. You know what I mean? After that bad performance, and you'd love to say, hey, go out and, right the wrongs. It's a tough one. Genoa obviously holding down the last relegation spot too, 18th spot there. This is a tough one. Number one, I'm not concerned about it. I'm not really concerned about that outing from Moyes. I know he can do better. He's shown he can do better, even with us, let alone if you just factor in last season. Just a bad showing. Was it a waste of money? Absolutely not, because you had to factor in the fact you have CR leaving and you had such little time to act. And again, you're not going to find a deal like that. That's offset payments and stuff like that. Like, it's really, really difficult to do anything. I feel like it was Keane or nothing. So it's really hard to say that they wasted funds on that. I would say absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And you can just see it on Twitter. He's a polarizing player. Like, he's the same as Morata, same as Bernardeschi. People that love him or hate him, right? They either want him here or they want him out. And we don't have the luxury of just flipping players right now. So we got to ride with the kid. I say give him some more minutes and see where it goes, and then we'll deal with it at the end of the season. Is he the striker of the future for me? No, maybe our winger of the future, someone to complement Bernardeschi on the opposite, or Chiesa on the opposite side. Let's just pump down the Keane out or Keane not worth the money talk. I think that's far too early for that.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Another question coming in: our player of the season so far.
This is a tough one.
Who would you pick for your player of the season? I'm curious to see how the live chat splits on this question. But who?
So it's really down. Well, I would say three, but you can throw Delict in there. So it's really Bonucci, Locatelli, and Dybala, right? Down to I think the question was those three, and essentially those are the main three. It's for me, it's whoever what does the team do when you remove them from the lineup? So we've seen what the team is like when the ball is removed from the lineup, and we fall off in an attacking sense. When Bonucci's out, there are replacements. I think so far this season it's Locatelli. If he's removed from this lineup, this team suffers the most. So it's close between all three, but for me, so far this season, I would say Locatelli is the player of the season so far.
Locatelli, eh?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of Locatelli in there. Yeah, that's really, really tough.
It's tough.
It's really, really tough. From an impact standpoint and how much Dybala does for the offense, it's really, really hard to say he's not in there. So he can easily be the call. Bonucci at the back, his ball movement actually has come in clutch and been really, really handy. I think we don't utilize it enough in certain matchups against certain opponents. I think against Atalanta, we needed to take advantage of him stepping up a bit and playing off of him with drop passes and then runs in behind. We only saw it twice. Bonucci's been key. And Locatelli, it's hard because it's hard to really deny. A lot of people hold the impact to statistics and the numbers, but we knew if Locatelli was playing in that role in the heart there, we just needed the vision and the proper progressions of the ball and whatnot. And I think the impact's there. I'd be really hard pressed to pick out of those guys. And Delict, I will throw Delict in there too. When he has been in, aside from the last match where he was pretty rocky, he's been steady and a force. But if I have
somebody else,
if I have to single somebody out, Dybala. I have to go with Dybala.
And we're not saying this is Alex there is thinking we're picking the player of the season. No, we're picking the player of the season so far.
Up until this point.
You know, nuts.
Now we continue on. Why is Allegri so stubborn on playing a 4-4-2? Why not 4-3-3 when you have the players for 4-3-3? He wants our opinion on what we think the reason is as to why he's been so adamant about that shape and setup. Anthony.
I think injuries force his hand a little bit. I think we don't see the players in training, so we don't see how they react to tactical changes in training. You know, positionally, some players may understand the formation better than others. They get what they need to do. He sees particular attributes in players that will work in a game plan to, you know, try and nullify the opponent's strengths. So I need Rabiot on the left because they have a right winger that has these attributes. I'm going to play him out there. These are all factors that we don't see. And we just come up with, well, Rabiot stinks on the left. Why is he putting him out there? He does stink on the left, and we don't know why he puts him out there. But we have to understand that there are reasons for it. I think a big one was Bernardeschi being injured. I think this is his second injury that's kept him. He had the shoulder, and then now he had this leg injury. So I would say if the team can stay healthy on the wings with our natural wingers, and if Kulusevski progresses as he, you know, from this game, if he can progress from this game, I would see him more on that right wing. Because remember, Kulusevski had a good year last year. He didn't have a bad year, a great year. He bagged quite a few goals, and he had a good year. So I would say the main thing would be for me would be injuries, and we don't really know what tactics Max is trying to do to cancel out the other side.
Yeah. I think honestly it comes down to one thing, and that's the fear of conceding goals. I think he thinks this is our best way to line up in that 4-4-2 shape to prevent damage and still be able to somewhat attack. And the biggest thing I think leading up until this point is who he's put out there and just not fitting that set, because 4-4-2 as it stands is, I mean, it has the ability to transition into some solid attacking setups and shapes. But it takes a little bit of tweaking to get to those, and it's a little less natural than, say, your 4-3-3, but you can get it there. In most setups, it just becomes that 4-2-4. In ours, we have the luxury of having a 10 like Dybala. You also have the luxury of Bernardeschi, who could slide in centrally if need be, and then Dybala can go up forward. So
yeah, that's right.
if you start to think about it, if he uses the right personnel, it gets like you can kind of see why he would think this would be solid. My biggest issue is, again, and it's been steady through the season, the rotation. Once the rotation sets in, is it sustainable, and can you continue with that setup? And the next question came in from Luca. I mean, he's here with us live, yet he decides to tweet in here, so that's fine. I mean,
Unbelievable.
Don't give anybody else chances.
What a guy.
Luca. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Punk.
You're not getting free stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I guess we'll get to this guy's question. Can we run the same starting 11 formation when West and Chiesa and Danilo are all healthy? Was this simply a good fit for these guys versus this team?
That actually is a good question, though.
And actually, yeah, it is a good question, actually. So I kind of take things back. Luke.
Sorry about that, Luca. That's a good one.
Luke is so easy to grind. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. Take it easy, pal.
He's so young
drop
and
the
naive.
cap locks too, by the way, okay? Nobody comes on this show and yells at us. Nobody. It's a good question.
Yeah, it is. So, well, let's figure out. We have to look at who do you swap out. So does Cuadrado go to the bench and Danilo come in, or does Cuadrado slide up?
So,
right. First, we got to figure out the lineup, because Chiesa comes in, Kulusevski goes out. Weston comes in and Bentancur goes out. Fair enough. Danilo comes in and Quadrado goes out. I think can we run the same with yes.
I
Yes,
think
we
you
could.
stay. For me personally, you keep Quadrado back.
He's been playing well back there, man.
I prefer him. I never thought I'd be preferring him at the right back. I do prefer him. I get it about the defensive struggles. Yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm willing to sacrifice that. I like him better at right back.
Have we struggled with Danilo out and Quadrado back there at that position?
No.
No.
Danilo, there's your answer for Sandro.
Can he play the left side?
Yep. And he's done it. Did it
I can't
last year numerous times. He can do it. I'd start looking at an answer on the left side to just shore it up a bit. Pellegrini, I'm fine with him playing and whatnot, but I think if you have Danilo, who's been really a beast outside of his first season for Juve, fire him away at the left. Get that split handled. The 4-4-2 continuing on with Chiesa. Once Chiesa and McKennie enter, because this is another part of this where you'd see McKennie out on essentially working the right, where Chiesa would be partnered up at the top. Chiesa as one of the outside wingers, can he do it? Absolutely. Is he as comfortable there? Maybe not. Is he a little bit too far away than where we would like to see him? Maybe. But I'm willing to give it a shot if Max is set on sticking with this. I can't help but feel like I have to see a 4-3-3 out of this team. I can't help but feel that way. Like we talked about it earlier, keeping it simple. I can't help but feel like I got to see it. I got to see a 4-3-3. Just put Chiesa up on one wing. Dybala can play kind of central and he can drop back, and then Chiesa can close in with your other forward. Be that Bernardeschi, be it if you want to play like a Morata up top there or a Keane and whatnot. Like, you have a lot of options as to how you do it. I think it's very difficult to answer this question, honestly, without having seen the 4-3-3. And the 4-3-3 might suit some of these other guys that you get in there in a rotation, because McKennie, I don't like McKennie as an outside. Like, I don't. Like, the guy works hard, he does well and whatnot. Can McKennie play as the other guy next to Locatelli if we want to put the true outsides out there? I think he can, but Bentancur wasn't asked to move forward. McKennie, all of a sudden, you wouldn't ask him to move forward, and I still think he would do well.
Yep.
Right? So he's got options. Options.
The final thing on that is we've already lost 5 games this season. Like, if we lose another one, it's, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's like, just try something. Like, just change it up. Like, he's I wouldn't say he's out of options, but there should be no fear of there being repercussions to say, well, we can't lose that one game. Well, you've already lost 5, Max. So let's just mix this up and see, like, throw something else out there, especially in these 5 games. Why not? Especially against Malmo too.
Absolutely. We've got this Sule thing being played for a short thing. So we get a couple quick questions on that. I summed it up in a tweet the best I could, which was tried to get him in a few minutes early, which is still ridiculous because anything beyond 80 minutes, come on. Let's be serious here. But he tried to get him on 85th-ish. There was no stoppage. You had like 3 quick succession stoppages that weren't ideal. And then he finally takes it. It's already 93rd minute and a half. Dybala is just waiting to take the PK, which ultimately ends the game. It's one of those things that, as Luca mentioned here, it's easy to turn it into a meme and everything and the jokes, but it's not a big deal. It isn't the end of the world. I would have liked to have seen him step in 80th minute, like give him 10 minutes, run around, like just kind of see. People are getting, could say it was a waste of the usage because you get 5 opportunities before they must be kept and can't return to U23s. We could potentially be calling them up again, given injuries, because we have been getting a lot of injuries and whatnot. I also heard that the rule has changed and it isn't 5 matches anymore. Like you're up to 10 appearances. So
and 30 minutes. Is that what he was trying? That one,
I believe, yeah, it's around 10 appearances. I was able to confirm the 10 appearances. I wasn't able to confirm on the minute side of things, but nonetheless, it's not going to be as big a waste.
It's not a big deal, people.
It's just, yeah, it's not a big deal, but a bit ridiculous. But at the same point, I feel like people would have raised a fuss if he simply turned them around and said, no, go sit down.
Mm-hmm.
He's already up. He's got his warm-up done and whatnot. He's looking to get in there. Just let him go. It sucks that it turned out to just be like 10 seconds and really just standing there watching a PK. But
non-story for me. Non-story
it's
for
a
me.
main point.
Mm-hmm.
Another AJC team member, Lou, who wasn't able to be here, so he actually took his opportunity properly, unlike Luca. But he had a good question too. Said, Chiellini said Allegri rallied the troops with his words pre-match and in training. Are we a bit harsh on Max given the current situation? And then he put in parentheses there, devil's advocate.
Don't do that. Don't be a devil's advocate.
Have we been a bit too harsh on Max given the situation?
No.
I agree.
No. He's the one putting the lineup out there, Al.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, again, you get on the bare minimum. And yesterday was a prime example again of when you get the team playing as a team and a lineup and a setup that makes sense to your players, you can start to see the individuals that crumble or have off-putting performances. Up until this point, a lot of it was not like that. And there was a lot of struggles, and the team, they just weren't playing as a team. The bare minimum is to have them share ideas, their concepts, their theories, and gain chemistry. That's a bare minimum I could put on a coach, is just having them play as a team and having the right ideas. If the guys cannot execute, that becomes on their point. Prime case, Moise Keane didn't execute a thing. So his best play was an accident that fell to Kulusevski. Okay. So have we been too harsh on Max? I don't think so, because none of us have said he needs to be canned. We said he needs to wake up and get the team playing as a team.
I said it. I did say I'll pull the curtain back a little bit. I did say in the group chat yesterday, if Juventus lost yesterday, Max had to get out. If they lost to that dog shit team yesterday, he'd have to go. There would be no excuse. After something like that, he'd have to go. But I'm not Allegri out, only if we lost yesterday. I think we should get to Ramy. Ramy had a couple questions in there and I'd like his second one. Can I read that one out? This is an interesting one.
Go ahead.
Should Juve sign a center back with Chiellini near the end, Bonucci old, and MDL, so De Ligt uncertain status? This comes up as Juve looks shaky defensively even today. So I'll start with this. Chiellini is 37, still looking good. He's here for next season as well. Did he sign? It's debatable. Okay, so I think there was
nobody really knows. Yeah, if he's gonna. Yeah,
Bonucci is not old. Bonucci's 34, so he's still got 3, 4, 5 years still left in him. I think Bonucci looks good, so I'm not worried about that one. And De Ligt, I guess with the uncertain status, I don't know, that all or nothing series, you can see how he is a little bit behind the scenes. I don't see De Ligt going anywhere. I really don't. I know you're going to disagree with that.
I can never say that confidently with anybody whose agent is Mino. I can never feel confident with that. This was a good question.
And I'm going to
remind everybody that's with us live right now, because we do have a little bit time remaining here. We'll just open it up to questions from all of you. I do see one that came in from Massimo that we will address.
The selling,
So I'm
that's
going
a good question.
keep that one in there. Don't worry, we will get to that. But anybody else that's joining us here, if you have questions, now's the time to drop them in the live chat and we will address them. So in terms of center backs, you have to bring somebody in. Bonucci's not getting any younger. Chiellini could be done at the end of any season. He could potentially, like, at another injury, be done. We have to remember, like, he's just suffered so many that another injury could see him done. Rugani being the fourth, his contract's going to come up over. You absolutely have to bring a center back. So, yeah, without question. And it also, I think it brings up a bigger question, which is how to approach the mercados, because a lot of the talk is saying Vlahovic, no matter what, you go out and you get him at whatever the cost is. I can't feel that way because of the work we need to do on the roster. It sucks because all of us would want a lethal striker in Vlahovic, whatnot. But I think realistically, to soften the blow, and you need to start spreading things out. And I think there could be a boost in numbers as opposed to boost in just one aspect. I see too many areas that need attention.
I think we're going to have to hit. We're going to catch lightning in a bottle in one of the positions. We're going to have to spend money somewhere. Let's just say Vlahovic, and then we're going to have to hit lightning in a bottle at like left back through a young kid or something, right?
Can't be dumping it all into one spot. I don't see this team being in that scenario. We can't do it. No. Financially. So it has to be spread out. We have to be really methodical, and there's going to have to be some bargains that we find in there. But yeah, center back, that's one of them on the list. You still need an attacking presence out of the midfield. You still need someone to boost, because you're not keeping Ramsey's not staying here any longer. Like, you're going to have to replace Ramsey. There's potential because of the damage done to us financially through all this. We need to write the books. I'm not buying this whole we're fine for financially for this year and the next season. The numbers that continuously get reported contradict that. So let's wait and see on that. But we're going to have to make some money on some deals. So Rabiot and Ramsey are potentially gone because they were frees. Whatever you get for Ramsey. Rabiot, I think, he does hold more value to us than Ramsey. So there's going to be some money there, but we have to move some guys. Now, this perfectly gets into Massimo's question, which is One Football claims that Juve will be forced to sell a star. You can see it. You could see it potentially being the case based again on the numbers.
Which one of those? Okay, let's just
you're 220 million in debt right now as it stands.
If you have to sell one of those two, who are you selling? You got to sell them today, Al. Pick one.
Jesus.
I think, and you can keep one for their career. You sell one, keep one.
This is extremely, extremely tough because I'm
selling Chiesa and keeping Delict. If you're like, you got to make a decision today. Knee guy, no knees. I'm selling Chiesa.
That is tough.
Keeping Delict.
I think I'm selling Delict. I don't want to do that.
A good center back, man.
No, I don't know.
Pick one. Chiesa, gone. Sell him.
Oh man, that's tough. So they both have a big number that they generate.
Right.
On the sales. So like that's essentially a wash because Delict's release clause is at the same money that the offers came in after the Euros for Chiesa. So it's essentially like financially the same deal. But if you look at the picture of where Chiellini is, where we just talked about the center backs, Delict's importance is like top. However, I feel like Chiesa, you have a little bit you can gain a little bit more of a bond with due to the fact he's not represented by Mino. Mino is that wild card that's like, would you sell Chiesa to keep De Ligt when he could literally, like, Mino could just do whatever he wants whenever he wants type scenario? It's very, very difficult one there. That is a tough question.
I'm not factoring in the Mino thing. I'm just saying, like, you got to sell one. One will stay with you. I'm selling Chiesa.
De Ligt would be tough to go away with where we stand defensively, and Chiellini about to go. Bonucci kind of in the downward trajectory on his career as well. That's very, very tough. I could see why you choose De Ligt. For me, it's hard to release Chiesa because I think we haven't even seen the heights of where Chiesa can go. It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
Eric had one here.
Eric had one
here. You guys rolling with the same lineup versus Genoa. Insert Morata versus.
So we're gonna get to Eric's here. Are you rolling the same lineup?
Yep.
And you're not going to insert Morata for Keane?
No, I think he's saying insert Morata for Keane. So make the one change. Same lineup, but make that change.
You would make that change?
I would make that change, but I'd also bring Bonucci in for Chiellini.
That's hilarious because earlier you just said you would keep Keane and roll him out.
You're right. I think for his confidence,
it's a tough one. I told you earlier, it's tough.
Yeah, I think for his confidence, he should be playing, but I may have to go back on my word because Genoa is a funny bunch of squirrels. They always Lou brought up in our private chat. They always play us tough, right? I would bring Bonucci in for sure. I'm gonna have to say no. I'll stick to my guns. I'd say start Keane again against Genoa, but Morata's like warming up in the fifth minute.
Yeah, I'm fine with the same lineup. I'd even still be okay if Keane goes there. Bonucci in for Genoa and whatnot. Sure. I'd be fine with the same lineup, to be honest, and not change a thing. Roll it out. No issues there. Again, rotation, there's no need for a lot in rotation. That's the one thing is like, don't change a bunch. Keep it simple. Roll it out. We should take it to Genoa. It'll be a tougher match than Salernitana, I'll give you that. And what's a tricky fixture for us all the time. So, yeah, but I'd be confident. What do you think will come of this investigation? We kind of touched on that in the Matchday Live. And honestly, I think what's going on right now is, and you heard it from the words of Chiellini, you heard it from Max as well, reassuring everybody to stay calm, reassuring. You heard it from Bernardeschi as well. Just keep calm, focus on what you need to do on the pitch and everything. But this kind of drama behind the scenes is giving the team another reason and something else to bond and unite and become stronger due to. So it's really bad that it's happening. What do I think is going to come of it? I do not believe, I said this yesterday, the investigation will lead to absolutely zero. These guys don't start these things to get nothing out of it. It's very rare that nothing comes out of it. There will be a form of punishment. What the level is, I have no idea because it's such a big gray area and all the teams are doing it. Inter's involved. Napoli's involved. There's a ton of teams that are in there. It's what the biggest thing that it comes down to. It's not the values of what they're selling the players. It's the bookkeeping. It's the invoicing. That is what becomes in question. And if you are altering those, it is illegal. And it's big. So the values being inflated and all that, what everybody thought was in question, whatnot, that's not the issue. It's literally how they're bookkeeping everything. And part of it becomes what you're not allowed to do, which is take funds elsewhere and boost. You know what I mean? You're not supposed to inject funds from elsewhere. So if you're getting fancy with invoicing and whatnot and actually helping your books, it's There's a lot to it. I don't think nothing's going to come of it, but I don't think it's going to be to the extreme that some are reporting.
Yeah, Alex brings up a point. I think he's talking about what Inter and Milan got into in 2008. I believe it was 2004 bookkeeping, and it didn't get basically adjudicated until 2008. Like, so I don't see this. This is the difference between this one and the Calciopoli in 2006. In 2006, it was essentially like being railroaded, make a decision in like 2 months. This thing's they're gonna have the investigation. If you follow anything that happens in the courts in Italy, that shit takes forever over there. So this is gonna take a couple of years. They're gonna go back and forth. This isn't something that we're gonna be in Serie B next year. At the end of it, at worst, I see a fine. There's just way too many teams involved. I think you're right. I think it's, how they look at how they, keep their ledgers and all that. But I don't think anything's going to come of it. But it's not going to finish anytime soon.
This question, hypothetically, might make some of the answers a little bit different to the earlier question of if you had to sell between Chiesa and De Ligt, who are you choosing? And it's coming in from David O'Neill. Are we afraid that we might lose De Ligt if we fail for Champions League? This is interesting because I'm going to take it to a different level of hypothetical scenarios because somebody asked it and compared it to the 2006 fiasco of Farsapoli. Who would stay in the team now if Juventus were to be punished severely? Who would stay? Because I don't think De Ligt would, but I think Chiesa might, to be 100% honest with you.
If this was 2006,
say the punishment becomes severe or whatnot, I don't see De Ligt staying, but I could see Chiesa being one of the guys that stays.
Morata would stay. Chiesa would stay. McKinney wouldn't. Locatelli. I think he'd stay.
I think he'd stay. But out of Chiesa and De Ligt, I think Chiesa would stay before De Ligt does.
I think all the defenders would stay.
Yeah. And normally with the guys that are older, like, Kylian Bonucci, they're not going to go anywhere.
Quadrado
would probably stay. I could see Sandro staying. Quadrado, I could see staying. It's an interesting one, but out of those two, De Ligt, gone. But I can see Chiesa.
Bernardeschi, he'd stay. I think you'd have.
It's an interesting question, but I think it kind of leads me back to where I was leaning earlier. That if I had to sell out of the two, I think I would sell De Ligt painfully. Might I add, painfully selling him because you don't want to let these guys go.
Ramsey would stay for Serie B. That's a good point.
It's a lot of interesting things. If we don't hit Champions League, though, I would anticipate De Ligt being on his way out. I think the other guys we mentioned would be still remaining. I think Lucas stays, Chiesa stays. I don't think the other guys would affect, but I think Firmino and his guys, I think De Ligt would probably go. And you know what? Honestly, if we lose that resource financially, we probably have to. In order to help financially. So interesting stuff, but we're going to wrap it up there. A lot of great questions. We can continue all day, but we got jobs. We got to get to work.
Got to go to work, man.
Keep sharing the content. Let's keep building this community. And maybe one day we don't have to work and maybe we'll do this for everybody.
Yeah.
Hey,
I could do this every morning. Why not?
Yeah, I could do this every day. No problem. But guys, it's been fantastic. The support's been huge. A lot of great questions in the live chat. Make sure you take the 2 seconds to like the video.
It's that little thumb that looks like this.
Push that. If you're new to the show, subscribe. Okay, if you're listening to it on audio, get over to YouTube, subscribe to the channel. We're also broadcasting this on Twitch. So this one was on Twitch as well. And again, don't forget, make some challenges if you're a FIFA 22 player and take on some of the team members, okay? You can follow on PS5, AJC Berto, okay? So my handle that's here, just spin it around. Get rid of that underscore. AJC Berto on PS5. And I'll take the challenges, but I highly recommend reaching out to us on Twitter and taking Cliff on first. It's a good stepping stone.
This may force me to get a PS5 and play, and then I would be like that first opponent in Mike Tyson's Punch Out, where you can just beat the crap out of him and you move on to the next one. I would even do that for the people. We'll see.
Yeah,
I don't even know what the buttons
but yeah,
do.
no, guys, keep sharing the content. If you're part of Juventus groups out there, Facebook, whatever it is, share the content. Let's keep growing the community bigger and stronger. The Striped Hearts apparel giveaway did not work out. We're going to shoot again for it on the weekend. Okay, we've got a ton of gear getting ready. And if you don't win, don't worry about it. Just head over to the site because there's free shipping on qualifying orders and a ton of new designs and more coming. Okay, so make sure you show some love and support our sponsor.
I do have one more thing. One more thing. Anthony. Maybe Sunday. Maybe Sunday it might be me against Ravella Hive live match day follow along for the game. We're working on it.
We're working on bringing you a watch along for Genoa. We're bringing you the match day live prior to kickoff.
Right.
Always the same time, 5:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to shoot for the watch along. All right. Now, as always, until Genoa there, let's get it going. Fino alla fine. Forza Juve. Keep it going. Build off this. Get these wins coming. Okay. This little stretch, we can't slip up. Need all the points we can get. Let's go. Till next time. Ciao.